Welcome to Leadership Beyond Burnout. I'm your host, Dr. Kimberly L. Wilson. Today we have a very special guest for you. It is Joana Tudela. Let me tell you a little bit about her. Joana Tudela, born in Portugal and raised in Venezuela, moved to the U.S. at 18, overcoming language and cultural barriers. With over 12 years of experience, she excels in enhancing language and cultural services in public health while focusing on Latinx, immigrant, BIPOC, and Limited-English Proficient communities. Joana holds a BS in Medical Laboratory Sciences, an MA in Translation and Interpreting Studies, and a Master's in Public Health. Joana works as a language access consultant and corporate bilingual trainer at Culturalizing Access. Make sure you check out the website. She is a United Latinas and Alpha New Jersey board member and belongs to the American College of Healthcare Executives, New Jersey chapter. She co-authored Hispanic Stars Rising, Volume 3, and in 2023, Joana co-founded Immigrants Beyond Immigration. It's a nonprofit helping immigrants understand the American system through language-specific programs. She's also the winner of the 2023 Congressional Hispanic Caucus Institute Pitch Competition, which addresses healthcare and Latinos through her business. And without further ado, let's bring her to the stage. Hello, Joana. Thank you so much for coming today.
Hi, Dr. Kim. A pleasure to be here with you.
I want to dive right in and get to what I want to call is the heart of the matter, because I know a little bit about your story and why you started this business. So I'd love for you to share with everyone why it was important for you to have this type of business.
Yeah, so my business really started out of necessity. I actually never really thought about having my own business. That was never the plan. It just came out of really necessity in a lot of fields, but especially in the healthcare setting. Because, like you said, I came to the U.S. Not speaking English, so I've been what we call a Limited-English Proficient or LEP person. And that means anybody that speaks English less than very well. Doesn't mean they don't speak English, it's just less than very well. So that means that they need, for special conversations like healthcare, finance, legal things, they prefer to have these conversations in their primary language. So I've been there, right? This is like our ultimate client. Then I moved into translation and interpretation. So I've been on the interpreting side, bridging the gap between, professionals and providers with these LEP communities. And then, I moved into public health and I started, working as a health educator. I also work in healthcare as a lab tech, so in different areas. So I've been a provider myself. So I found myself in a very unique situation of being part of every single, angle of this triangle of intercultural communication. And that gives me a very unique perspective. But really what started my business was my mom moved to the U.S. a few years ago. So her English, it's very basic as of right now. She's older. And, taking her to the doctor several times, me having to interpret regardless of how many times I have to call and tell them that I needed an interpreter, all these things. But what really got me to the point to be like, okay, this is it. If not now, when? If not who? Who's going to do it, right? So it was when I took her to do a PET scan. And, she was in the changing room and there was a sign in English saying, if you have special underwear like anti-odor, antimicrobial, you please let us know because this can cause severe burns. Oh. So I was like, okay, this obviously was here because something happened before, right? But why was this not in other languages, especially when I live in New Jersey, which is a huge diverse community. And I live in Central Jersey with over, 50% of the population speaks another language. It's basically immigrants in my town. So why are we not having this in Spanish? Why are we not having this in Hindi, which are like the two major languages in my area? And, I try to talk to the hospital. I send, a 3-page letter telling them all the things they're doing wrong. And they responded, but then COVID hit, right? So that was pretty much the end of it. So that frustration, I was like, what would have happened if I wasn't there and my mom had that? And then she would have gone, burns and her private parts. Like, this
Right.
is not okay. This is not only not okay, but this is the law. They're not following the law. So I was like, okay, obviously there is some gap between, there's a lot of language service providers. So there's a lot of organizations and agencies that provide translation and interpreting, and obviously
Right.
healthcare organizations. That something is missing. Something is missing in between. People think the interpreter is only to be there when the provider is there. But what about before? What about the check-in? What about the phone calls to make the appointment? What
The
about
website.
that my chart? What about the website, right? What are all these barriers to really get the care in an equal patient center way? So I
Right.
was like, okay, I have that unique position because I understand the struggles and the challenges of everybody involved. So
Right.
that's kind of how Culturalizing Access started, really as a necessity for my culture, my people, which is the immigrant and the public health providers, really.
Right. And when you hear me, when I hear you talk about your experience, and it really makes me think about how it seems to be more of an afterthought in America for so many things. It doesn't seem like it's important. It's like, oh, it's just kind of nice to have, like it's a little vitamin. Yeah, we'll get to it, but not a necessary vital thing. There was one time when I had my students, I presented them, and they're graduate students in counseling, and I gave them a form in Tagalog, and I put them in the groups and asked them to complete the form. Now they were able to figure out which one was name, but they had no clue what this was about, what they were supposed to do to it, because I wanted to give them that experience, that destabilizing experience of, oh my goodness, I could imagine that with frustration, so many immigrants or limited English proficient people would just leave. Or am I overstating that?
No, I love that. I think we should be doing this everywhere, right? Because anybody, and it doesn't have to even be healthcare, in any industry, you're going to find LEPs. You're going to find individuals that don't speak English very well. And if you want to thrive in your business, if you want your business to succeed, you have to serve these individuals, even if you're just retail, right? So everywhere in the range. And I love the exercise that you did and they were not able to figure out. But I especially love that you're doing this with counseling students, because mental health, it's very, very important for the immigrant and the limited English population, because you have this trauma